Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about investing, but not in that boring financial chore kind of way. No, we're going to treat it like a core life skill. We'll give you a real blueprint for building wealth, even if you're starting from scratch.
All right, so let's get right to it. Why should you even care about investing in the first place? I mean, you always hear about beating inflation, right? But it's so much bigger than that. This is about creating a strategic blueprint for your entire financial life.
So think of your financial life as a journey, broken down kind of like this. In your 20s, man, you've got all the energy and time in the world, but probably not a lot of cash, right? You're basically trading your time and energy for money. Now, the whole game, the entire point, is to take that money you're making and over time turn it into a big pile of capital. Why? So that when you're in your 60s and your energy is lower, that pile of money is working for you, kicking off passive income. That's the dream, that's the finish line.
Okay, but hold on. Before you even think about building that future, you've got to lay down a solid foundation. Seriously, investing without one, it's like trying to build a skyscraper on a sandy beach. You just know it's going to end in disaster.
And that foundation, it's built on two pillars that are completely non-negotiable. First up, your emergency fund. Just think of this as your financial shock absorber, right? Enough cash to cover 3 to 6 months of your expenses for when life, inevitably throws a curveball at you. The second pillar is protection. We're talking about insurance, the stuff that shields you from a major crisis that could just wipe you out financially.
So what happens if you just skip this part? What if you get all excited and jump straight into investing? Well, the consequences aren't just bad, they can be absolutely devastating for your long-term goals. In this quote right here, it just nails the danger perfectly. Picture this, some small emergency pops up. You don't have a cash fund, so you're forced to sell some of your investments. But what if the market is way down when that happens? You end up selling at the absolute worst time, locking in a huge loss and basically wiping out years of hard work. That foundation we're talking about, that's what stops this nightmare from becoming your reality.
All right, so let's say your foundation is secure. You're almost ready to go. But wait, before you dive in, you have to learn how to spot the dangerous myths out there. Think of them as traps. They promise you a shortcut, but almost always lead to a dead end.
Yeah, the number one myth has to be getting rich quick. The reality? For like 99% of us, it's a total fantasy. You hear these stories of overnight success, but dig a little deeper and it's almost always one of two things. They had inside information, or they were gambling with massive amounts of money they could afford to lose. For the average person, it's a huge trap.
Okay, next myth, this idea that you have to choose between saving or investing. But look here, it's not a choice. It's a sequence. Saving is phase one. It's how you gather up the seeds. Investing, that's when you plant them. You literally can't do step two without doing step one first.
Then there's the big one. You need a ton of money to even start. And this one's a little tricky because it's kind of true and kind of false. Can you start small? Absolutely. And you should, just to build the habit. That's super important. But if you want investing to have a real life-changing impact, your main focus at the beginning shouldn't be picking stocks. It should be on growing your income. A bigger pile of money to start with just leads to way bigger results down the line.
And please, a final super important warning. If anyone promises you high returns with low risk, you need to run. The only reason it's low risk for them is because they're taking your money. Just remember that golden rule. If it sounds way too good to be true, it absolutely 100% is. Okay, now that we've busted those myths, let's pull out a real practical map for this journey. This is how you actually start building your wealth, brick by brick, the smart way. Think of this table as your roadmap. Everybody starts down at the bottom in the low-risk zone. We're talking about safe stuff, like digital deposits or even gold. This is where you build your capital and your confidence without losing sleep at night. Then, once that base is solid, you can start looking at the next level up, the medium-risk stuff, things like government bonds that can give you a better return for just a little more risk. And that stuff at the very top, the high-risk assets like individual stocks or crypto, you only even think about that after you're totally comfortable in the lower tiers. You climb this map step by step. You don't just try to leap to the top. So let's put it all together in a nice, simple flow. Honestly, if you only remember one thing from this whole thing, make it these 4 steps. First, step 1, focus on your earning power, make more money. Step 2, build that rock-solid financial foundation. Emergency fund, insurance. Step 3, start investing, but stick to the low-risk stuff to get your feet wet and build the habit. And then, and only then, step 4, As your capital grows, you can slowly start to diversify into those medium and high-risk assets. Just follow that order, and you're going to be in great shape.
And please, just remember, this is not a sprint. It is a lifelong marathon. You are building sustainable wealth for your future. You're not just chasing some lottery ticket. You know what your most powerful tool is on this journey? It's not some hot stock tip. It's patience. So we'll leave you with this one last thought. Before you even open a stock chart or download an investing app, just stop and ask yourself one simple question. Is my foundation ready? Because answering that question honestly is your real first step on the path to building real wealth.